Hey, welcome back to Bargain Hunters. This is episode number, is this 5 or 6, John? I'm always losing track.
Good question. I want to say six.
I think it's episode 6. I know it's in the title.
One
And
of them.
today we are doing Sandy Koufax for $50. So really excited about that. How about you,
This
John?
was our biggest purchase yet in terms of
Yeah,
the max value for this show we do.
This is going to be fun. I'm excited about it. The other thing I'm excited about is we have got a surprise for everybody, right? So a lot of people like to watch along while we're doing this. Well, we have a guest joining us today. So I'm just going to bring him on in. Let's bring in Topher, AKA the Cincinnati Kid. Topher, how you doing today?
Hey, Topher.
Fantastic, gentlemen. I want to say thank you so much for having me on your awesome show. I love Bargain Hunters since it first started. I've watched every episode. I love the concept. I'm just happy to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. I know
It's awesome to hear. Thank you.
Topher and I were talking back and forth in the comments section, and he's like, hey, I've already got my Koufax ready for next episode. And that's when we kind of said, well, you should come on and share it with us. So this is really cool. I'm excited to have you on, Topher. We're excited to, by the way, if you haven't, just like John or myself, if you haven't seen Topher's channel, you should. One of my favorite channels to watch. Every time he puts out a video, fantastic storyteller, out there commenting. So it's an exciting thing. We will make sure to put a link down. And that's me when I do send it out. I'll make sure to link it so that if you haven't, you need to, you can log in and watch Topher's channel. So
yeah, please subscribe to his channel if you haven't already done so.
Yep.
Thank you, gentlemen. The same goes for you guys. Definitely subscribe to these two gentlemen's channels out there. If you have not, I'm sure you have, but if not, they are excellent content.
Excellent. Well, enough of everybody cheering everybody on. Let's jump into Sandy Koufax. So exciting. So normally what we will do is share some Koufax cards that we have. Topher, since you're the guest, I think I'm going to let you go first. As soon as if I can figure out. Yep, watch this. Look at this, John. It only takes me 6 episodes to figure this thing out, right?
Natural.
So, Topher, if you want to kick us off with your Koufax cards, that'd be fantastic.
All right. I don't have a ton of them, but for a long time, I just had his base card of his base cards. So the first one I'll share this was my first one. Boy, maybe the lighting's not the best on that.
Yeah, that's a nice card.
I'll block my mug. I don't know. I've got to be careful here. I might break Dylan's brain.
Is that a 6 or a 4?
It's a 4.
4.
Okay.
Get that in a little closer there. Yeah. And
cool. Even with my glasses on, I can barely see.
Well, yeah, maybe the lighting's not the best here.
No, the lighting is fine.
It's showing well.
Okay. Well,
basically is on get out.
Yeah, but basically, this card's got an interesting story about it. I got it on a returning home on a vacation. I was overnight in Charleston, West Virginia, and I went to the mall there that night, and there was a person there set up just selling cards. And there it was. I'd never had Sandy Koufax, but one thing I've always loved about this card is the look on his face.
Yes.
It has that look of, I am tired. My arm is killing me. I wish I could pitch more, but I don't think there's much left in the tank. And you can see that here on this leader's card of his with Sandy Koufax and Mike Cuellar. I think I said his last name right. Cuellar.
I think it's Cuellar.
Cuellar, yeah.
So Cuellar, and so beside him, that looks like the same session as this one, maybe.
It does.
When they shot that, and that image of him, which they use so many over and over again in tops, isn't there. I've never seen on any other card but this one, and it wasn't on his base card. But then I like this one here. I've had this leader's card for a long time with Vern Law and Juan again. And that's his 65 tops base image. But they must have shot that in 64 because it's on his 64 Giants. That's the same shot.
Yes, it is. Oh yeah, they reuse photos all the time back then.
So that's just a classic set to me. I would really love to have a 65. I don't, but I've got it sort of here. Here's another leader card. And
I love those leader cards.
I think that's a 62 tops image reuse, maybe.
Yes, that's it. You're right. That's what it is.
And then after that, here we go. I got the big boy.
Ooh, there we go. Fantastic. What's that one in?
This is just a poor one. And
Okay.
the thing is that I always love a chance. That's why I'm glad I was on this episode, because when it's Sandy Koufax, I'm like, yes, I love to share this card because it has you can't really tell, but it's got a crease that goes right down the middle. And that's what's making it a 1. Otherwise, it might be a 2 or 2.5. The corners are pretty soft. But this card I got in a trade. And then I got it graded last year. And I thought, yeah, let's just get this encased. And you can tell it probably was in some kids' bike spokes.
But the stories behind it like that are what make cards like that even more awesome.
So, that's right. Yeah. For this one, for me, is awesome. I would not be able to afford or would not shell out the money for a much nicer example, but I got this years ago, so I'm just really thankful to have it. And that is my cards I pulled out.
That's fantastic.
That's fantastic. That one's in my top 5. The Koufax rookies in my top 5 want list. That's the I don't own it yet, but
I think I was just thinking about the other day, like if for some reason I had to like flee the country quickly. I don't know why I would do that, but there was some reason why. If you can only take one card, you can't just stuff a bunch of them in your pocket. This would be it, I think. Yeah. Because everything about the hobby to me is in this card. Oh, and one other tidbit. He went to the University of Cincinnati on a basketball scholarship.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, and I almost pulled out a card, but I didn't want to pull out something that wasn't part of this episode of another UC alum in a different sport, but I just thought that was really neat, because you hear a lot of guys that are baseball, football guys, but not a lot that are basketball players. And being here and where I grew up, basketball sort of still is king. It was back in the day, but
Cincinnati Royals, Oscar Robertson.
Oscar.
That's right. That was the guy I was going to pull out, but I have his 71 All-Star card, the tall boy ones.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, let's just keep it with Sandy. So, but I thought that was neat. And that's where they found him. He was playing basketball there, and they scouted him out and found him there.
Wow. I didn't know that. I read his book too. I don't remember him being a basketball player in Cincinnati. That's cool. Really cool.
Really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
What was that?
Sure.
Yeah, I was just saying thanks for sharing those great cards.
Yeah, those are fantastic cards. John, you want me to go next? You want to go
next?
next?
I think I should go next. We'll let the Dodger fan go. We kind of anchor it here.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't have his rookies, so.
I don't either. I'm going to go in reverse chronological. I got 4 cards I'm going to share. And like Topher, the first one I'm going to share here is his 66 as well.
That's beautiful.
I believe 3 of these 4 I bought raw and had graded, I believe. Yeah. This being one of them. So I got this off of eBay. I just like you said, Topher, the portrait here. There's something about this portrait that just takes you in. And I really love, another thing about this card I like is if you look at the background, there's a Pittsburgh Paints advertising right here. And I don't know where that is, but I don't know. It just sort of, I like little background scene things like that just sort of like take you that much more into the time or moment this picture was taken. So I just think that was I thought that was just a great card overall. So I love that one. Like you said, there's a lot of it. He's probably like, really, we got to do this picture right now. I mean, it almost could be that kind of an expression on his face too.
Yes.
But what you interpret it how you interpret it, and I kind of like how you described it is kind of my thinking about that as well. It sort of takes you in. I've got 1 leader card I'm going to share here among these 4. This one I did buy graded already, and I bought this at one of my LCSs actually. Showed it fairly recently. Got a 62 strikeout leaders.
Nice.
It's an old PSA 6, but I got this for like $20. It was a really, really good price. So, and it's got dry stuff in it too.
And a red leg, not a bad looking card.
Yeah,
huh?
right. Jim, is that Jim O'Toole on there?
That's
Yes,
Jim O'Toole from the
Right.
Ragamuffin Reds.
Right. So I got that one. I mean, you know, the floating heads are not the best leader cards, but I do kind of like the shield piece on it. So it's always kind of a neat card, I thought. And the price is really hard to turn down. But when I just, just a card I saw in the case, and I was like, wow, maybe I'll get this one today. Here, I think this is the first Koufax card I ever bought, and it was not long after I got back in the hobby in 2020. I got this a 61 that I ended up grading. It's off center, 2 directions, but again, I got this was like before the 21 peak, I'd say. And so I got this for a pretty good price raw overall, I'd say. I remember it was like, I don't know, $20, maybe it was about that much, maybe, if I remember vaguely correctly. Before, so I'm in for probably 35 or so on that card. And then here's the big one I have that I had in my collection, or you know, I think it's still the biggest, even though the one we're about to share is 50 or less. So I have his second year card. I bought this raw in the same LCS as I bought the 62 liters card actually, and got it graded. It came back at 3.5, which I was pretty happy about. It's a little off center. It doesn't really have a crease in it. It's got some chewed up corners, but it is a gray back actually versus a white back. I think the grays are a little bit more in value, but not much. I think it's pretty marginal, but that's just, you know, I wasn't looking for a gray back. I just think it's a cool card. I love the pitching post or the follow through with that. So those are the 4 that I already had going into this.
That's awesome, John. That last card is a sweet, sweet card.
It really is. I like that shot.
They're all really nice
in the last couple of years.
So, you know, I'm a Dodger fan, right? So I do have a couple of his cards, but a lot of them are in lower grades because that's what I gravitate towards. But I have a few to share. So I've also got a couple leader cards. This is the first one here with Koufax, Bunning, and Bob Veal. I love these cards. I love both the 60, I think it's 65 and 66 liters have the dark framing, which I think looks really cool. So love this card. And then there's this one here, which is the strikeout leaders from 65. And it's got Bob Veal again, but it's got Bob Gibson and Sandy on that one. So
that's a really cool card, actually. I like the portraits they chose for all 3 of them. That's a great card.
Yeah, I'm looking to get this one graded eventually. It'll go in. You know, my problem is I have about 200 cards I want to grade. That's where most of my budget goes these days. But here's my favorite one that I do have graded. This is the 66 pitching leaders. And, you know, you've got your 4 Hall of Famers on there, right? You've got Gaylord Perry, Bob Gibson, the Dominican Dandy, and, of course, Sandy Koufax. So that was just an era of great pitching in the National League. Just fantastic pitching. And so that one is probably my favorite one. I got it. It came back in a 4. I was happy with that. I have also have the same card as everybody else. I've got the 66 Koufax. This one is in a 3. It has a small crease right here.
I love how we all chose SGC to grade them.
Yeah, I love the way cards look in SGC. That's the only one I will send to, even though you probably should send to PSA on more expensive cards. But Topher, like you, this one is a card. My oldest daughter lives in Syracuse, New York, and we were visiting, and we met in Buffalo, and my wife and daughters, it was around Christmas time, they all went out to look for Christmas decorations, and I grabbed her boyfriend, and we went to a card shop. So I picked this one up at a card shop in Buffalo. And I was pretty happy when I got that one. Here's a 64 Koufax and a 2.5.
Nice one. Yeah. I think that's an underrated card of his.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, I was close to getting a 64 for this search, and I did not get one. But
same here.
Almost did.
Same here.
Here's the 62 Koufax, which these aren't. I was really happy when this came back in a 4. It's hard to get these 62s anything higher than a 4 or 5. So I was pretty excited when this one came back in a 4.
Very nice.
Beautiful. I think I remember you, Steve, when you had that one ungraded and you put it in your one of your videos to send off for grading.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've sent most of them off. Here's my version in a 5. This is one of my favorite Koufax pitchers. I just don't know why. I just like the way he looks in this picture. He doesn't look like he says, "My arm's killing me. I'm ready to retire." In this picture,
he's just entering his peak here. This is like the start of his peak dominance.
Yep, he's looking like I'm about ready to own the league. That's the kind of look I see on his face there.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the 59 that I picked up at the National, and I was pretty excited when I got this one back, 5.5. So
that's great. Yeah,
beautiful card.
Be done on that. Yep.
And I have 2 more. I have the 58. This one, if you look at it up close, you'll see it's got some creases right around here. So that's why it's a 2. But heck, it's a 58 Koufax. So I'm pretty happy about that. And then, John, like you, I have his second-year card, but mine is a little more beat up. I found this at, I think, my LCS, and I got a pretty good deal on it. It's a 1, but and it's, you can tell this got a little bit of a crease in the corner, and the corners are really worn. But at the end of the day, there's no creases across Sandy's face.
Good.
And this is one of my favorite cards of his. Also, I just kind of cool card.
Was it already slabbed, or did you send it in?
I sent it in. It in. I came back a 1. I was guessing 1. I was hoping for a 2, but realistic.
Well, at least you got a number on it, so that's good.
Yeah, I was happy.
It looks good. Yeah.
That is my Sandy Koufax run. So other than the one that we all picked up here. So
great.
So let's share what we did. If you guys, since I'm on the screen, if you want, I'll go ahead and start it off if that's okay. So the card I picked up, one of my favorite cards. I'm into leader cards, as you know, and this. So I picked up this 1965 Koufax leader card in a PSA or an SGC 6. Trying to get a little less glare. This is what I love about this card. As a Dodger fan, I just love the color scheme of this card. You've got the Dodger blue. You've got Koufax and Drysdale together. I know Mark, Dodger card. This is his favorite card because it was the first card he was given when he picked up cards. I was really excited to grab this one. It's one that I've been looking for a while. And dollar-wise, I paid $47 for this one. So, it was underneath the 50. And I got it in a 6.
That's fantastic.
I'm really, really excited to add that one to the collection.
Fantastic. That is a card, like, it almost looks like a color match parallel. It's still like it goes so well. You know what I mean? I love the color scheme. Cool.
It screams Dodgers to me,
Yes.
Topher may not like it, but it screams Dodgers to me. All right.
Great find. Where'd you get it? Did you get it on eBay or LCS or?
I got that on eBay.
eBay?
Yep. It came up early, and I pulled the trigger on it pretty early. There were a couple non-leader cards that I was trying to grab, but they just kept inching up over the $50 mark. There was one raw one that sold under 50, but I didn't pull the trigger quick enough. So maybe one of you guys is going to share it with us. So, John, we're gonna save our guests for last on this. Right. So I'm gonna pop you in next.
Sounds good. So I basically had it down to 2 cards, and as it turned out, I bought them both. So are you okay if I share the one that I don't want to enter in here as well?
You're asking me if I'm.
We've done this before, right? So
and you're sharing a Sandy Koufax, so yes, we're okay.
Okay. Interestingly enough, they're both from the same year. Actually, they're both from 1964. The first one, but it's not the base card that I was talking about, which I do like quite a bit. But I really love this card. So I bought this 64 World Series, from the 63 World Series, card number 136. I only know that because I'm looking at the back. The strikes out, Koufax strikes out 15. I have seen examples of this. I've seen this in a tux, like being on eBay. This card looks so darn good in a tux, so I can't wait to send this in, and I will be sending this in hopefully actually this coming week. I've been putting off a 5-card submission that I need to get out, and this will be in it. So hoping it'll grade a 5. I paid $25.75 for this. I had to relook it up right before I logged in here. So it'll be $43 or so once I get that slab.
That's not the card for that card, John.
It's such a good. It's going to look awesome in a tux. Okay, so here's the card I ended up getting. It is a leader's card, and it is in pretty poor condition. But when I had the opportunity to buy a Sandy Koufax from Topps Venezuela set for under $50, I have to say, yeah, I have to try to do this like that. Here's what I got. I got card number 1, 1964 Topps Venezuela. It is a pretty good mess on the front. You can't really pick out the imperfections on here. It also has Dick Ellsworth and Bob Friend. So, 2 notables, but he's the only Hall of Famer, Koufax. Here's the back, which, you could tell by the black border versus the orange. And also just clearly the paper is just a much thinner stock. But there is not very little or no white backing because these were in scrapbooks so much or on walls or however, kind of they were collected then. So, but the seller on eBay had it for 50. I got it for 45. If you count the shipping, it was 51, but we don't count shipping on this show. So I got it for $45. It's pretty poor. It's got a crease here. Doesn't really go into his face, but there's like a decent scratch that kind of does go into his face. The corners are very rounded, but I just thought to have the opportunity to have a Topps Venezuelan Koufax, I was like, I'm doing this. So that's my entry in this.
That's huge. A Venny for $50 on a Koufax. That's sweet. That is
very
sweet.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Well done. Well done. Where'd you get that on? eBay?
I got it on eBay. Yeah, I got it on eBay.
Because you've been.
I have been doing Palm City.
Check out my car.
Yep, but this one was eBay.
Awesome. Well, that's a fantastic car, John. That one, just fantastic. All right, Topher, like the Nasty Boys, we're going to bring you in to close us out. So,
well, we'll see if I get the strikeout or give up the 3-run bomb. Like John, I was looking around 64s, the base card, to try to see if I could pick one up. I love his smile on that card because Koufax go from having that staring you down, posing his cards to the smiling like just affable guy. I really like the 63 too. I'd love to have the 63 in my collection someday, but I just couldn't really find one that, and certainly not the 63, that would be graded in the price range that was a limit on this. So I went 1 year further to 65, and I went with a 65 leaders card. I'm not sure. This card may have already been shown. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sweet.
As soon as you rolled that around, Steve, I was like, oh, no. I got to think of something witty to say with this. But this is a PSA 3. It was $35. If you count, I counted like out the door with shipping and taxes, it's $47.
That's sweet.
But I thought, hey, I've got Drysdale on here too. And one interesting thing about this card I really liked was how the two of these guys would team up when it came around to salary negotiation time.
Yeah.
And they basically were like, well, you guys might win with one of us, but you might not either. But you certainly won't win with either of us. But you will win with both of us. And so they made the Dodgers pay a little bit. And I thought that was a great great story, because they were certainly well worth it and probably underpaid even.
I'm
For
sure.
even the day, these guys played for the love of the game. Koufax sitting out the World Series game for Yom Kippur because that there was a something that he believed in that was more important than baseball. And I just admire that character in him. He seemed to have a bit of a independent streak in him. There's no denying his ability, and I just thought, like Steve said, this just screams Dodgers. If I was a little older, like if I was like in my 70s, and I've been listening to baseball as a kid in the 50s, or so, or I might have been a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. They had so many great pitchers and just a beautiful history, and the field they played in, and Jackie Robinson, just all of it, and let's see, there's several other players that have ties to my home state that I really liked, but this was the one I found. I know it's a repeat.
Great looking.
But we have a sandwich here. We have a 65-liter sandwich with John's Vinny in the middle. So I don't know what that would taste like, but to me, it tastes like fun.
Great minds think alike, so that's a good thing. I agree with you on Koufax. One thing I always admired about him, he was making good money for the time, yet he walked away from the game because he was afraid he was going to be a cripple, right? Yep. And it's just a guy that puts the more important things in life ahead of the game. And I do love the story on the negotiation. The funny thing is, the guy that led that negotiation was Drysdale, not Koufax. He was the one that he was actually doing the negotiating with the team, is what if I remember correctly.
That sounds like Drysdale, yeah.
Yeah, he was a character. That's awesome. I love that card.
Yeah, great cards.
This has been a lot of fun. So first of all, thanks, Topher. We enjoyed, when we started doing this, one of the things John and I envisioned was having people jump on with us and do it. So we've enjoyed it. We'd love to have you back on again. If one of these cards, when the wheel spins, if it tickles your fancy, we'd love to have you back on. And then John, we've got, so as the year's been winding down, John and I have been talking. We probably are going to do one more episode in 2024, taking us into the holiday season. And then we're going to take a little bit of time off, and then we're going to hit the ground running again in 2025 because I'm having a whole lot of fun. I know John and I talk about it all the time when we're out looking at cards. It's a blast. So
yeah, we had a lot of fun recently looking at some cards.
We did
earlier this month.
Yeah, I got lucky enough to be at a card show with Jason, Everyday Card Collector, yesterday, and the weekend before I was out with John at a card shop. So nothing better than being at a card shop or a show with collecting buddies, because it just makes it that much more enjoyable. But as we're going to end the year, we have another surprise. So one, our wheel is out for repair, as John likes to say.
Quick, Steve, you got to go back to full shot, you and John, because I'm not doing anything now.
Well, I don't know how to get it all on full shot, but thank you.
That's okay.
So I will tell you that the wheel, we're not going to use the wheel because earlier in the week, our good friend Theo from Clemente Collector reached out to us and said, hey guys, I'd love to do an episode of Bargain Hunters on my show with you guys, and I'd like to be in it. And John and I kicked the idea around, and we thought, fantastic idea. So we're bending the rules a little bit. John, you want to go ahead and tell them what we're going to do with our friend Theo here in the near future?
Sure. And so if I have any of this wrong, Steve, please correct me, because I have not been. I'm hearing this information secondhand, but it sounds super fun. So we are going to have by the time we get it out, it's probably going to be close to Thanksgiving. So why don't we just call it a holiday special? It'll be November probably, right? If you do these monthly. But we're going to do a Bargain Hunters focused on, guess who? Roberto Clemente. And Theo, if I understand it right, it's going to be hosting, like you said, hosting the next episode on his channel. So we'll be guests for as they said back in the 60s and 70s, a very special episode of Bargain Hunters. And I'm actually really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be super fun. And as part of that, we have, while that wheel is out for maintenance and probably needs some repairs too, we have decided to up the budget on this one. So we're going for $75 on this one. I should have done a drum roll before, but there you go. $75 bargain hunt on Roberto Clemente. So we'll see how we do. It's going to be on Theo's channel. Can't wait to see what's out there for $75. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, I just picked up 2 Clementes at a card show yesterday for $45 a piece. I should have just held them in my back pocket.
Well, if you haven't shown them yet, maybe you can.
No, they came out. I actually released a video this morning, and they came out. So,
right.
But no, it should be a lot of fun. The $75 budget, you know, since we're only going to do one more for the rest of the year, think of it as, you know, a little extra. It should be fun. Theo's excited. He's already told me he's going to start shopping today. So we're excited for that. This has been a great episode with Sandy Koufax. Topher, we appreciate you jumping on. We appreciate everybody watching. Until we talk again, you know, stay safe, keep collecting. We'll talk to you all soon. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.